The light did not explode outward. It settled. Across the hidden chamber beneath the kingdom, the completed circle glowed with a steadiness no ritual had ever achieved before. Not unstable, not violent, resolved. The final pillar locked into silence, and for the first time in centuries. Nothing trembled. Above the chamber, across the capital, the fractures beneath the marble streets stopped moving entirely. No spreading, no widening, no cracking stone, only stillness, the kind that arrives after something irreversible has already happened. Inside the circle chamber, the king lowered his hand slowly from the final pillar. The high priest remained motionless beside him. Neither spoke, because both men understood the same terrible truth. The seal had not failed. It had completed something. Below the temple, Elira stood before the fracture, but the word fracture no longer felt correct. The space between worlds had changed, not torn, opened. Vaelor stood only steps away now. No shimmer, no distortion, only distance, and even that felt temporary. "Elira," he said softly. She looked at him, not with fear, not with awe, recognition. "The city feels different," she whispered. "Yes." It stopped resisting. Vaelor did not answer immediately, because he was listening too, not to the gate, to the kingdom itself. Above them, throughout the capital, people stepped into the streets cautiously, expecting collapse, expecting fire, expecting judgment. Instead, they found silence. The marble beneath their feet no longer glowed violently. It breathed faintly, warm, steady. Children touched the fractures without fear, and for the first time, the stone answered gently. In the northern district, the blind bells of an abandoned shrine rang once by themselves. Not alarm, recognition. In the southern quarter, the old historian who first spoke Althira's name stepped outside at dawn and found flowers growing through cracks in the marble roads. White, thin-petaled, impossible. He knelt slowly beside them and began to cry. Inside the palace observatory, the shattered instruments from nights before had stopped vibrating. The scholars noticed something else instead. The stars above the capital had shifted slightly. Not position, relationship. Constellations long separated now aligned directly above the temple. One astronomer whispered, "It's responding upward." Another answered quietly, "No, we are." Below, Elira stepped closer to the opening, closer to Vaelor, closer to the place where separation had nearly stopped existing. "What happens now?" she asked. Vaelor's gaze shifted upward slightly, toward the city above them. "Now," he said, "the world decides whether to remember itself." Above the temple, the priesthood had split completely, not through violence, through belief. Some priests abandoned the ritual chambers entirely. Others remained inside them day and night, still chanting sequences no longer answered, still tracing symbols that no longer activated, still begging the seal to behave like a wall again. But the younger priests had begun asking different questions. Not, "How do we stop this?" but, "What was this before we feared it?" Inside the inner sanctuary, the high priest stood alone before the oldest ritual inscription in the temple. He had memorized it as a child, recited it thousands of times, protected it his entire life. Now, for the first time, he saw the missing lines. Not hidden, ignored. The stone beneath the inscription had shifted slightly, and new words had emerged beneath centuries of polished marble. The seal does not imprison ruin. It prepares the crossing. The high priest closed his eyes, not in denial, in grief. Far below, Vaelor suddenly looked away from Elira, toward the deeper darkness beyond the opening. His expression changed slightly. Not fear. Memory. "You felt something," Elira said. "Yes." "What?" A long silence followed. Then, "The others." The words chilled the air between them. "Elira." His voice lowered carefully. "I was not the only one who crossed." Above them, throughout the city, people began dreaming the same dream. A shoreline beneath black stars, 12 pillars standing in shallow water, and figures walking calmly across the horizon toward a gate of light. By midday, thousands had reported it. The palace scholars called it resonance. The priests called it contamination. The people called it memory. Inside the hidden chamber, the completed circle began emitting pulses of soft light at regular intervals. Not random, rhythmic, like breathing, like communication. The king stood within the circle again as the scholars mapped every pulse carefully. "It's stabilizing," one whispered. "No," another answered. "It's synchronizing." Below the temple, Elira lifted her hand slowly toward the open threshold. This time, her fingers crossed the boundary completely. No pain, no burning, no resistance, only warmth. Vaelor watched her carefully, not triumphant, not relieved, careful, as if history itself stood balanced on the smallest movement. "You still think this could destroy us?" she said softly. "Yes." "And yet you waited?" "Yes." "Why?" Another silence. Then finally, "Because remaining separated was destroying us already." Above them, across the kingdom, people began removing broken circle symbols from shrine walls voluntarily, not angrily, quietly, as if returning something borrowed. The ritual chants faded district by district. The bells stopped ringing in warning, and for the first time since the seal was forged, the capital no longer felt like a city containing something beneath it. It felt like a city built above something awakening. Inside the temple, the high priest descended slowly toward the lower vault again. Not as guardian, not as authority, as witness. When he entered the chamber, he stopped immediately, because Elira's hand was no longer entirely on her side of the threshold, and Vaelor's was no longer entirely beyond it. The boundary between them had begun dissolving where they touched, not violently, naturally. The high priest stared silently, then whispered the words he had spent his life refusing to understand. "The crossing has already begun." Above them, across the city, across the kingdom, the fractures beneath the marble roads dimmed for the first time. Not disappearing, resting, and deep beneath the foundations of the world. Something ancient shifted peacefully in its sleep.